Everyone is doing well. Thank you for your patience. It's great to see the names of everybody. For those who can, it would be great if we can be on video because it's going to be an interactive class where you'd be, responding to some statements, some questions. So for those who can be on video, I strongly suggest that you come on video because we're also going to do a round of introduction and it would be great to be on video. So yeah, I'm going to start with myself. My name is Alhanislam, and I am a poet, a motivational speaker, and a campaigner with change.org. And I am happy to be here. So yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Kwange. I am a spoken word artist and a writer from Mina, Niger State. I'm the author of the poetry book titled The Flowered, and I love art so much. And I am super excited to be here today because I know that I'm going to learn a lot. I've been learning from everyone, from the classes that have been happening, and I hope to learn more today. So it's nice to see everyone here. It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Musa Abubakar, popularly known as Abohida. I'm a spoken word artist and also a fashion designer. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
My name is Rahmalawan Ahmed. I'm from Kui, Borno State. Poet and a calligrapher. Nice to meet you all here and thank you so much for the classes.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Fatima Mikhail Usman from Kano. I'm not a poet, but I'm a motivational writer. So nice meeting you all. It's nice seeing you, Alhan. Thank you everyone. I hope we'll have a wonderful class. Thank you.
My name is Yusuf S. Ambrosa, known as Scott. I write poetry and I'm connecting from Sokoto State. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Yusra Abdullahi. I'm a spoken word artist, I'm a motivational speaker, and I'm also an engineer.
Hello everyone. Hello Mark, nice to see your face here. Okay, so I'm a spoken word artist, an upcoming actor and a blogger, and yeah, that's it. That's who I am. Nice to meet you all here.
My name is Sarisha Ali Umar, popularly known as Saada. It's such an honor meeting you all, and I hope you have a very wonderful class. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I have with me here three of our members, the poets who we are going to have a campaign recording that's going to be merged with the winners of the competition that we started on Instagram. So they're here with me, and somewhat they're going to be part of this interactive session. So I just wanted them to also come and just say hi, and then we can dive right into it. So we have Loveth, we have KJ, and Psalmist is here as well. Guys, come. So this is Loveth, guys. This is KJ, and Psalmist is...
You all know me, right?
Okay, so you guys are definitely going to be part of this session. It's an interactive session, and it's basically talking about at what point is poetry a prayer, and at what point does it become a protest? So let me just switch this view. Yes. So this is just going to be like me asking them a question and just so interactive. But majorly, we're going to fine tune this to also what's happening now. We're in the electoral season. And so we're going to talk about that as well. Okay, so at what point for all of you, and also I want you guys to think about it, right? At what point does poetry become a prayer? And at what point does it become a protest for you guys?
There's a line by Toby Abiodun
Yeah.
He says that like a prayer is a poem, and God listens to the ones with the most punchlines.
Wow. Okay.
So like, I think when we write, when we speak, we sometimes speak to ourselves first. Like, it's like a reassurance. Most of the time, like when I write my poems, I try to be the person that needs it the most. So I would say that is the point whereby you say that poetry is a prayer. And there are times whereby you want to express yourself. So I think expressing yourself is also a kind of protest. You are like trying to make known how you feel. So that is where I say poetry is a protest.
Right. Okay. So what about you, KJ?
Okay, still to be Abiodun.
Yeah.
You know when he said one makes a poem.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact words he used, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to paraphrase. He was saying the poem is what the poet says it is.
Yes.
So at what point do you say that it's a prayer for you or a protest for you?
Personally, I think it's a prayer for me when it feels like everybody's asking me, did it really happen to you? So most times, even when I write a protest, it becomes more like the whole prayer thing is when it's very personal, when everybody's wondering if it's like from my personal experience and all of that, it means they actually see through me in the poem. And when it's a protest, it's usually not very personal. It's more like we are us, we are a lot of us in this thing. It feels like misery loves company, and you're just trying to be company to the other person that is in the same misery with you. But when it's a prayer, you're the only one in this, and you're trying to like vent.
Love it.
Okay, as a lot of people may know, I have a lot of angry poems.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah,
other day we had this event with Era Father Charlie Boy, and they reached out to me quickly because the show was already scripted, but they needed it was Valentine's Day, so they wanted me to write a poem about my love for Nigeria.
Right.
And I went to stage. I was thinking, look for a poem that says you love Nigeria and all of that. That is how much I think I write a lot of angry, sad poems about Nigeria. What I have decided personally as an artist this year is I want to write poems that hold me, poems that heal, right? So what I have realized is, it's the way someone you love hurts you. Sometimes you're angry, you want to be angry, just want to be sad. So that's the point I think I have been at. My poetry have been protest-based. It's been Nigeria, it's messing us up and all of that. For me, this time I'm like, these poems hurt me too. Because sometimes, like last year, I did a lot of road trips, and I'll get to a point, I'm like, God, I pray my line there, because I have a lot of lines about how Nigerian road will swallow you, how there are a lot of kidnappers. I'm like, God, I don't want this thing to happen. I don't want my poems to happen to me.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I have to start changing the kind of poems I write. I want to have poems that I can just hold and say, God, let this poem happen to me. So I am seeking healing. And at this point, I want poetry to be sort of like a prayer to me. So I just could navigate healing, because this country, if you just focus more on the protest, it just
keeps swallowing you in.
It does. And I'm done. I think I'm done with that part of my art, I think.
It seems like Love It was getting a bit emotional about it. I think for me, the first thing like I look at is what the prayer and the protest have in common, which is manifestation. Somehow you're looking for results by whatever it is, whether it's a prayer or it's a protest. And like for me, I think my poems become prayers, just like KJ said, when it's like you. But even for me, the protest, sometimes it also applies to when it's me. I can remember when I lost my mom, the poem I wrote, Hero After All, was a prayer for me. And it was a prayer for me because it started with my mother's voice, and what she was saying, she did see in me. And so I am sort of pushing that as a form of prayer to be able to manifest that in myself, to become it. And like when it became a protest for me, was when I wrote The Last Planet, because at that time I was shattered. I stopped writing for a long time. I was really broken. I had lost purpose because everything that I was doing was actually around my mother, was basically, oh, you do this because, your mom's going to be happy. Your mom wants you to do your own thing, so your mom's going to be happy. So you're doing poetry, your mom's going to be happy. So everything was literally for her. So when she died, it was like, I don't have any purpose now. Like, I'm not doing anything anymore. So I stopped going out for a long time. I was just at home. I was depressed. And so when I wrote The Last Planet, it was sort of me protesting against that spirit of depression and anxiety that's holding me down to say, no, you know what, you don't have a purpose anymore. And I had to sort of reassure myself that there's no one that's like you. So if you decide not to continue, you're depriving the world of your gift. And like, I would say to myself, but there are so many other people who have these gifts that would fill the space. And I'll still have this argument with myself where like myself is saying to me that, no, there's still going to be that space, that vacuum, that you're not, taking up that space. So that's really when it became a prayer and a protest. And I think that's when, after writing those poems, that's when I sat and I was having this deep introspection, and I realized that, oh, really, both of them, what they have in common is the manifestation. So like, coming back to what you said regarding your poems being angry, truly, poets and people who have the power of words are actually casting a spell. Because there's a reason when we get on stage, people become quiet.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of witch charmed movie, and the thing about spells, like it's just, you don't want to say these words because it's probably a spell, and when you speak it out,
but that's why it's called spelling.
Yeah. So it's scary. You don't know what I just realized how you don't know you're seeing into the life of other people and what they're internalizing.
Yes. And it's all about energy. For me, a lot of times I say this, and my interaction with Bash Amunini one time, he said that there is a reason he lives most of his poems as questions. So, and because at that time I was like, oh, but my poems are mostly motivational. It's sort of like, giving you an answer to something. And he's like, it's okay. It's always questions. And he advises young poets to not conclude, regardless of how bad the situation is, because you might be actually binding yourself. The whole thing when you're watching certain movies have to do with, like, they draw up some signs and call someone some energy. The truth is, energy exists. And as people who have been blessed with the power of words, we must learn how to sort of speak truth to power, but at the same time, for ourselves as well, for peace, for tranquility. And that really just brings me to the point of, what do you want for this election, right? What is your thought process regarding this election? I know. I know.
I can't even lie. I'm not anticipating the process. I'm just anticipating the results. Just want the whole thing to just fizzle out.
I just want to be like in a coma. Like, no, like I just, how you don't see, because I think it gives me this crazy anxiety, because I think if this country is going to get the change we are praying for, I don't think it's going to be very peaceful.
It's so unpredictable, because now the political climate is very, very fragile.
Exactly.
Even before the elections, we are already having protests, we are having opera places. Even, for example, in Lagos today, I heard they blocked the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, so cars can't go in or come out. So it's like some places that they're like trying to burn down stuff, burn down banks, and it's already creating this atmosphere of fear already. So it is something that leaves me in a place whereby I do not really know what is going to be the outcome eventually, because people should not be able to carry that rage into the elections, because people, like, they might actually tend to want to transfer that aggression into their fellow Nigerian if the outcome does not favor them. So that is what I think that we need to really diagnose and seek ways whereby we can, try to solve them.
So right now, as poets, what do you think your role is in this, election period, with regards to this context, the things you had said? Is it now time for a prayer or a protest? And for you personally, how do you intend to go about it? So it's a general question. I mean, if you have anything to say, you can Definitely.
There was something that I said this morning on the Through My Voice community group. I said that as poets, we are this conscious of the society personified. So when society stands to lose its morals, it is our job as poets to be able to remind them of our core humanity. So that is how I can best describe it.
Thank you, Psalmist. Does anyone here have anything that they want to say? You can please raise your hand, drop a comment in the chat box so that we can unmute you. But meanwhile, love it, KJ.
I wanted to say something. Please let me take us back, because what you said about saying we should write as questions, right? So we were writing that piece about, and the poem was saying, writing about my country has turned me into the woman with the issue of blood. The line after that is, but in this reality, the bleeding never stops. And then I asked myself that, look, because I'm being deliberate this year about the things, no matter how angry I am, I do not just want to stay angry. I want something to change. I don't want to stay scared, because I know how these past days have been dark for me. You know, you can't even access food, you can't move, like no cash and all that. Then I told myself that you saying that this bleeding will never stop, you are professing doom on your country. And that is also choosing to be taxed with the burden, because you have a job. I think as a writer, we have the job to talk about this thing. And instead of saying the bleeding never stops, I decided to say instead that, and I fear that this bleeding may never stop. So that means it's a fear. It is not a declaration.
It's not a declaration.
It's saying, God, if you can do something about this, do something about it. But I have not decided that nothing can be done about it.
Absolutely. And that's a very solid point right there.
Okay, I think we have a lot of poems.
By the way, I like your nails.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of poems that question the government, and then we don't talk about how wicked Nigerians can be to themselves.
That is
So really, I think it's high time we start questioning ourselves as citizens too.
Yeah.
I mean, the thugs are citizens actually. They are not even, in fact, they might not even get into politics in their lifetime at all. So the people that cast votes are actually citizens. So sometimes it feels like we're fighting ourselves. It feels like, look at the whole selling of money thing, everything. The system is already bad enough. And whether we fight against it or not, we suffer. Or make it worse when we fight one another. So I think it's time we start questioning ourselves.
That should be a poem, right?
Yeah, like I think the other day I went to the POS. I was stranded, and the guy gave me old money. He said, they're collecting old money. I collected it. And I was begging drivers, they were not collecting it. I found my way home and I was like, okay, I want to deposit the money back. The guy said, no, he's not collecting. I was mad. I told him that.
Went back to him?
Yes. I was like, did you collect money? I was mad. I was like, you are mad. I was like, you're a fraud. I was so angry. And then I just decided to, this is me coming down. Like when I don't want to be this crazy person. And then I had to apologize to him, and I just went home. And the thing is, I think at this point, like you were asking what is our job or what we can do as poets this period, I think we can beg and convince and pray to people around us, because I don't think, let's look at it this way. How bad would you have been hungry that you will sell your vote for 5,000 naira? How bad? You have to be, it's like your hunger does not have hope. Else you will not sell your vote for 4 years for 5,000 naira, 2,000 naira.
Even 8 years now,
So
I think we are that bad. We don't have a hope right now.
So I think that we are all victims. It's just that we respond to it differently. These days we are shouting vote wisely. I think we should just convince, come, let me tell you why you should vote my candidate. Let's not fight. I just think your candidate isn't it. So we could actually, like, there was a point I went on my stats and I'm like, oh my, if you don't vote wisely, God is going to punish you. I was so sad. I was so sad. Because how do you look at this country as it is? You're not going to sell your votes as bad as it is right now.
And the other day on Change.org IG Live, I was saying something that sometimes what we have is not the policy problem, but the personality problem.
That should be a line in a poem. I think that line, the line you said also. Personality problem.
So you as a Nigerian, you have like, it is in you. And sometimes when you look at people up and people down, there's always almost no difference between them. Because it is people that are here that rise up to that level.
Point.
So it's already a collective mentality. It's like a common way of, okay, as a Nigerian, you have to be corrupt. Because okay, when we talk about bribery, for example, it's people that give them and people that also collect. They are still
it's
the same Nigerian. So I think we have to find a way to fix that from within ourselves and understand that this country belongs to us. I think the basis of how we reason sometimes is we always think of today alone. I have to think about how my choices affect people that will be born within the next 10, 20, 30
Not even people
years.
that will be born, people that you will born. Let's not let's make it more personal.
But it's difficult to make it personal when everybody has plans of leaving the country very soon. Everybody just wants to run
even
away.
at that, they will still be Nigerian.
I was going to even talk about something.
They'll still be Nigeria.
I was going to talk about something, right? You are bringing it down now to like everyday person, like interpersonal relationship, like you going to the POS and all of that. But when you get into the bank managers are selling money. I think this whole thing started from the bank, them selling money, and really it's difficult to be in the system and not be consumed by the system. It's very difficult, and we understand that. But then if you get consumed by a system, I think we should realize that you're not just the only one that will be consumed.
Yeah.
You are taking down a whole lot of people that might not even be related to you too. So you're taking down a whole lot of people, a whole lot. So I think people should understand that too.
There's a question I really want to ask a community of poets like us, right?
That the question also applies to you. I know how Musa Abakar raised her hand right after. Love, do you want to ask the question before she goes?
Okay, maybe after she goes.
Okay, Hawa Abakar, do you want to please unmute yourself and go ahead and make your point?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Hawa Musa Abubakar.
We see the TEDx.
Okay. Well, what I want to say is I was born and brought up in Maiduguri, and I have suffered in the hands of Boko Haram, not as a victim, but I've watched my friends and some of my family affected, and now I don't even have a choice of who to vote or who to support. The only thing I have now is just to pray and to protect. And as a point, I believe we are healers and our voices are important. And I believe my voice is important. And I just hope one day all these nightmares will pass. And sorry, maybe I'll talk again next. I'll take again. I'm just remembering my friend, my roommate who lost her life in the hands of Boko Haram. And she's the kind of person that always liked to speak. She liked to advocate. She likes politics. So now I'm wondering what this. Oh my God. I think I'll talk later.
Sure. Wait. Yeah, thank you, Howard. Thank you so much for your courage, for still finding it important to lend your voice. Your voice matters. You're important. The people of Nigeria are important. And just as Psalmist said, regardless of wherever we go, we're still Nigerians. And that is something you can never change. And so whether or not you choose to fight with us, the only thing we pray is you're able to fight even by proxy from wherever you are. Even if it's just changing the mindset of one person, then I would say that the job is done. And well done, Hawa, for finding that courage.
When you feel all of these things that this country makes us feel, do you when you want to feel sad, when you are angry, when you just really want to ask the questions, you want to like air your raw emotions of hurt and anger, do you sometimes as a creative feel like you should not be angry, you should be hopeful, you should be positive because you're talking to people? Do you guys feel that weight? Because I feel it sometimes, and I'm like, I don't owe you guys to be hopeful. I am not hopeful. I am not. So stop telling me to be hopeful when I'm not. So I don't know, because I feel that way sometimes, and I feel it's like wrong to just expect us as creatives to be the one.
There's something that Jasmine Mann said. She's a poet as well. She said, "Don't have to start telling the truth." Right? And I think that when we tell stories, they should come from a point of sincerity first and foremost, before we now try to pacify people. You know, we can still like talk about the realities and still maybe tie it to a way of giving ourselves hope in our poems, so that when people listen, they are also, you know, inspired as well. So that is actually what I
Do you always have to feel the need to make people feel inspired when you are not inspired?
Hello.
Yes, hi, good evening or good afternoon. My name is Oluwani Femi.
No worry, in Nigeria, all is accepted. Good morning, ma.
Good afternoon. So I just want to say that this country, yeah, I feel like it's taking a whole lot from everybody. And sometimes I feel like hope is a really bad thing. Now let me explain why. Because we keep on open, we keep on writing, but do they listen? Sometimes I feel like, do they listen? We tried to speak up for ourselves 2020. We saw what happened. But now people aren't like calm about it anymore. They want to protest, like Uncle 78 said earlier. Everything is in chaos. I can't go to work here. I can't. I'm in Abeokuta, by the way. Last week, I walked into riots, the protest, twice, and I had to run for my life. But now, the question is, people have died. But when we write with hope in our hearts, do they listen? Do they listen? The problem is not writing. The problem is not praying. The problem is, do they listen? We need listening ears in this country, and people that actually care. So I can't really. Do we protest? Do we not? Do we pray? Do we protest? I can't. I think I'm too angry right now to actually say.
No, it's fine. Your anger is justified.
I feel like I'm too angry to actually put a pen down and write a letter to the people at the top, to the big elephants that don't actually believe that a sting from the ants can send them spiraling on the floor.
Honestly, yes.
I'm just too hungry. So you see, that's a little bit I have to say.
Thank you so much for your point. But like for me, I still come back to the thought process of, if the people themselves start to be responsible, regardless of the situation would have nowhere else to fester on than to actually change. Because like still the same people. Like government is just really an ambiguous model. It's still me now. When maybe Buhari is out of office, I'll still go and contest, and it's just one person against go there. But another thing also that I feel we're not paying attention to is the hierarchy of decision makers. So a lot of times this thing now that's happening, we can say, oh, stop, it's Buhari, right? But we don't even understand who our decision makers are before Buhari. That's part of the reason we're not taking serious.
True.
So the local government, you see somebody else, Buhari. You don't hold the chairman, the councillor as accountable. But the moment we start doing those things, if something is happening, we first of all Google or whatever. Google is your friend.
who are the responsible? The responsible MDs for XYZ. Their names will come out. If it's a state minister, is it the federal minister, an executive council member, whatever, it will come out. So until we have learned to start holding those at that level accountable, the presidency, the other set of people, they would not take us serious and they will laugh at us. That is part of the reason the NSAS protest was not successful. It's really because the protest was, all of the anger was Buhari. But Buhari is just the head. If my head is cut off, I would still cease to function, but my body takes more of the space. This is just what sort of crowns it. So unless we learn how to hold the Lego, accountable, you understand, and all of these things, that nobody will take us seriously.
But about what she said, that if we can really, how long do we give them hope, or if they actually listen and all of that? I like to think that sometimes it feels like hunger, right? You cannot really quench it, but you can satisfy it while it lasts. So for the time that you can't actually satisfy it, give people that privilege, allow them just enjoy and feel like there's something good still happening in humanity.
True.
It's not just, it's already enough disadvantage that we are here like this. There's still something good about humanity. Give them, let us just hold on to that thread of hope.
Yeah.
No matter how small, no matter how tiny, I think we can still just hold on to it for the times that we can.
Yeah, we can hold on to hope. Trust me, yes, that's absolutely right. But regarding what I was saying, right, something happened. This guy started a petition that, the FCT, there's refuse just being dumped at certain areas in Abuja, and that's not being taken care of. And so when he started his petition, we worked with him he put a decision maker, which was State Minister on Environment, whatnot, NEPC, something like that. So we tracked the whole decision maker, we set up an appointment, we went to meet the state director on FCT for environment. And to be honest, part of me, like, I felt embarrassed in the sense that the man educated us on the fact that he's just in charge of FCT, right? Not the entire Abuja. So that's like AMAC, right?
Oh. So you felt like you guys didn't even know what you were doing.
Yes. Sorry. So that is exactly how these other guys look at us on a bigger scale. When we come and we say, oh, is this person?
Yeah.
And then we start, that's why they don't even respond to you. So it's not about the listening, but are you communicating properly?
Yeah.
Do you even know properly how to communicate or who you're talking to? So it's more like you'll be accusing me. If someone is accusing you now that you stole this one, and you know you're not doing that, two things will happen. Either you waste your energy in fighting them back, or you just keep quiet and you're like this. When you people are tired, you go and look for who really stole it.
Yeah.
That's really the normal human. So he said, oh, I'm in charge of it's AMAC. I'm not in charge of, he started calling the areas, and those were really the areas that we were in at. Was just like this.
Ouch.
And then he started talking about how it's XYZ counselor that is in charge of this. Chairman, this that is in charge of this. They need to mobilize XYZ on their end. X amount of money has been given to them for this. The person who is supposed to hold them accountable is this agency. Do you understand? So if you don't even understand that, there is nothing that can be done. And they keep siphoning the money and looking at us as fools. And sometimes we end up becoming allies with the people we're supposed to hold accountable. So you go and meet your counselor, and then because he knows you don't know, he says, could you protest? You understand? Call him why he's here with you. Do you understand? So I think that as much as we're holding on to hope, we should take the little things that also is in our control to sort of take care of.
Yeah.
If it starts with you as a person, start. If it is, oh, you know what, from today, I will not be dumping things when I'm driving or when I'm in the bus.
Yeah.
That would make some change. Or, every day I can sensitize one person about not dropping things. Because guess what happens when you keep dropping those things, right? flooding is part of the repercussion. And then when the flooding happens, what do? Oh, Buhari, he has not XYZ. No, you contributed to that yourself. And so sometimes even these guys, to be honest, they're not scared to talk to you about some of these things or even help you to understand who are the people you should be holding accountable. But what's your channel of communication? Have you sat down to educate yourself about the problem first?
I think that was one of the things, one of the classes we held about advocacy. I think when you call, there's this that taught us social media. Yeah, one of the things I learned was that sometimes we just want to be poet and just be angry and angry and angry, and we do not even know the technicalities of these things. For example, if I'm coming out to shout about rape, stop, some poets do not even know what acts is responsible for violence, what this one, what that one. So I think that for imagine you coming to say this was rape or this is this or this is that, but you cannot say according to this constitution or what this guy did was wrong.
Yes.
You do not know the black and white of these things.
Yeah.
We just want to be angry.
So
one of the things I learned from that class was, do you know how you can go about this? How you can go about, so that before, like you said, you guys felt embarrassed, felt like you didn't do your due diligence. As beyond being angry, we should be protesting right with knowledge and understanding of what we are doing.
Yeah.
So that in case this person, imagine shouting Buhari now comes out, okay, let's stop.
Buhari can sue you for doing that. Yes. So, but I'm not in charge of that. If he was a president that was active in, doing this, or his people, they can sue the citizens for doing that because he's not the one responsible for that. He has already discharged the duty to who it's supposed to be, and okay, Buhari has to submit the budget to Senate or whatever to actually approve, right? And he has to come and defend the budget. Yeah. So there are people that hold the power to the power.
Yeah.
And until we start understanding who those people are, our poetry would neither have an effect as a prayer or a protest. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. What I want to say is, if Nigerians continue to see every opportunity as a chance to be rich, we are in trouble. We are in trouble, and this problem is not going to end anytime soon. Because 2021, me and my colleagues, when I was in part 2, we organized a training for women, that is affected women in Jerry local government, Maiduguri, to train 130 women on how to decorate rooms using disposable plastics. And we actually approached some of the stakeholders for support, but they later on, they want to gain from what we have started. I don't know if you understand. They really want to show themselves as if the idea is theirs, and they want to support us with a price. Like they have to gain. That is, if they are going to forward our efforts to a higher position, they have to be acknowledged. So, and I think that is wrong. And when we try to own our work, they abandon us. Nobody supported us. And after that 130 women, we have not carried any project up till now. But Alhamdulillah, I'm happy that I've impacted. I'm happy that I have taught them. And even if it's one person that continue that business, I know she will help her family. I'm sorry, I really suffered to learn English. And now that I will be able to communicate with you, I will not keep quiet. I will continue to talk. I will talk and talk until they hear me.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Your voice will be heard. Your voice will be heard. Thank you so much, Hawa, for your courage. See, I'm loving this session.
I am.
Because I'm like, no way I'm coming and I'm just gonna be the one talking. Hell no, we're not gonna do that today. Everybody's story matters, and everybody should have the opportunity to share their story. Your story is powerful, regardless of whether or not people can relate to it, to be honest. Because a lot of times, I think sometimes we hold back our pens from writing because we're like, hey, it's something that just happened, in local government or in local government. Even if I write about it, will people really be able to relate? And I say a lot of times that it's not about people being able to relate. Humanity in general, share certain things in common, which is pain, love, whatever it is, poverty, there are common grounds that connect us generally as humans. And so whether or not you speak the English language, whether or not you speak your local dialect, right? There is always that thing that's going to move the heart of humans because we connect. That's the baseline of our connection. And so I'm just here to really encourage people. If English is a problem, abandon English, write in your dialect. In my album, I was struggling with two things. Should I really put a lot of Hausa, Pabur, traditional vibes and all of that? Or should I really, speak English? And I'm like, oh, not everybody's going to understand. And then one morning I woke up and the voice in my head was like, yeah, I use the curse word, but I'm going to say. So it was more like, whatever, like just do what makes you happy. What makes you happy? Celebrate your culture, and people will relate. And funny enough, even the international audience and some of my friends like that are not Nigerians, the poem that got a star, like Apple Music and Spotify, was the one that started with a Hausa song. That's the one I know. Yeah, and even at the performance, right? K Festival, when I started singing the song, and in the audience, I haven't even started reading the poem, I could see some Americans crying. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, calm down, is my what I'm saying? I was singing, I'm like, do you know what I'm saying in my head? Why are you crying now? So really, melody, pain, these things connect humans. And it doesn't matter even if they don't relate. It's a thing of you are advocating for your own community. And one way or another, it's going to touch the heart of someone. So Hawa, building that community, trying to do this and contribute your own quota is an amazing effort. And we would be here to support where it makes sense. And, we stand with you as a community. And inshallah, Salmis is going to give a lot of you some updates. We're working hard to see how we can continuously support people's individual projects. We might not be able to support everybody's project at a goal, but we're working to see, even if it is supporting one person's project in a year and seeing it to fruition. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's here. If you have any other thing you want to say, love it, KJ, Psalmist, anybody, please go ahead and say something. Raise your hand. The floor is yours, and we can move. Oh, thank you.
You look beautiful. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can carry on to writing the poem, and we call it a day.
First of all, I want to thank you all for the opportunity, because this kind of opportunity used to be very rare for most of us in, I can say, Nigeria at large. But I just want to add something that has been bothering me. I don't know if I'm the only person that is suffering from this, but I just want to say, I know each and every one of us here comes from a local environment. And for the change you want to see in Nigeria at large, we have to start with ourselves. We have to see the change in ourselves first. So sometimes as writers, you can start with yourself, you can change. For example, one of you cited, you cannot drop like pure water bags everywhere. You cannot drop trash when you are driving or sort of things like that. So you can change yourself on your own. But for the local environment you are in, sometimes it's very hard to communicate that type of change in people. Because as for me, I don't know, as for me, in my own environment, I am the change I want to see. But sometimes when I write or when I speak, people look at me as if I don't know what I'm saying or I don't know what I'm doing, because Nigeria will never change. That is the perception of people. Nigeria will never change. Whatever you do is like you are wasting your energy. It's like you are just wasting your energy. You can focus that energy on something else. Be the change you want to be, or just keep quiet because nobody is going to understand you. Everybody has it in his own mind that Nigeria will never change. So we can't do anything about that. Just do whatever you like, do whatever you want to do. So I'm having that difficulty in passing my message to people around me. So sometimes it's very hard and I get tired and I just stop, because I am not a poet really, but I am a seasonal writer. I write motivational quotes on my WhatsApp status, but sometimes I get tired. I just stop. So I stopped writing for months or years. So people will be mocking like, Erin, she's tired. And then all of a sudden I'll just gather the energy and come back. And then the same expression, the same reaction, and I will just go back to bed. So I don't know how I'm going to tackle this, or if there is something we can do about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. I think we are going to have a class, and I will try my best to see that part of that class, we bring in someone. I know someone who is super good with community mobilization and messaging and basically engagement. And so I hear you, Fatima, when you say that you're the change you want to see, but not everybody is the change that you are, or the change they even want to see in the community. So like I said, Psalmist would make some announcements. People that have community projects as such, we would take about 3 people, and there would be like an intensive what's it called now? Grooming, yes, on that. And you'd be given the resources to actually enable you do most of those things. And we would try as much as possible to see it to fruition. And that's why we're starting with a small number. So thank you so much. We hear you, and we love the work that a lot of you are doing, and you're great in your own right, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.